There was no way of knowing when Title was going to fail, but it was a mathematical certainty that it would fail.
Period.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Critics Collective. I'm the Dad Panther. I'm here with not so super fan Manny, and we are going to talk a documentary. This documentary is on Netflix. Just came out in the summer, and it's got a running time about an hour and 51 minutes. But before we get into that, telling you the highs and lows and rating this. Hit the subscribe button, like, and comment for more. We would greatly appreciate. Now, that being said, Titan. The OceanGate disaster. Don't be confused with Implosion, the Titanic sub disaster that's on HBO Max. This one is on Netflix. Now, IMDb says Titan, the OceanGate disaster, examines CEO Stockton Rush's quest to become the next billionaire innovator and the doomed underwater endeavor that called into question the price of ambition in the depths of oceans. So this one is interesting. I'm going to start this one off and say what my highs and lows are. We'll start with the lows. The lows for this one was I thought it was too long. I thought it was 2 hours too long. I thought an hour and 30 minutes is a sweet spot for that, and they completely went over that one. Now the other one is an hour and 30 minutes, and I just felt like there's a sweet time there. The other thing I didn't like about it was I wanted more information on um really honestly like what went wrong and the understanding if you weren't into submarines and stuff like that. They go into it more than others, the other one, but they still didn't go into enough that if I walked away not knowing anything about submarines, I would walk away saying I kind of understand some stuff. um I do like what they did when they brought in certain people that shared similar stories to the documentary that HBO has. For instance, like there's one guy who's testifying. He's the same one testifying that we saw in the other one. In the other one, you had someone who almost lost their life, who was an influencer or a person in front of the camera. In this one, same thing in a way. Respectfully, you get a YouTuber who was days or weeks away from being on that maiden voyage. I thought it was a really good job of what they did breaking down some of the technical stuff. What I mean by that, without spoiling anything, they go into sound effects and letting you hear the sound effects. They go into graphs and visuals so you can actually see. And it just added to the horror that I think Manny and me were talking about before, where it's crazy that this happened with so many signs saying this shouldn't happen. The other thing I'll lastly say that I liked was when they tell the progressionary story about all of these individuals, they tell the story linear to the story and their own growth, meaning why did they start the company? How did they join the company? Their ups and downs in the companies, all the way into what happens. And then when it happens, we already know, much like the Titanic, how this ends. It's interesting because unlike the other documentary, this one doesn't paint Rush, the CEO, as someone who is great. They don't try to humanize him and fix his image. They actually, towards the end, when they show the date of his passing, like they do everyone else's, he's the only one that's just aimed into the ocean. And it's not a beautiful picture of the ocean. It's just this rough seas, choppy waves, and fog in the background, while everyone else I felt like had a more uplifting image for that recap. So that's my highs and lows. So Manny, what do you got on this one?
Well, one thing I kind of disagree with you with the time. I thought I like the time because
Mhm.
they provide a lot of information
Okay.
that I feel that HBO one did not provide. As far as even with the sound, they showed you how the sound came into a lot of, as far as these expert understanding, like, yo, there's something wrong with the submarine and we need to either stop or change it, and how he didn't listen. And going into detail as far as like what was really wrong with this thing, uh, they went into depth. And as far as painting this guy into a villain, they showed what he was willing to do to stop anybody that disagreed with him. You know, that one guy, I think it was Tony Neeson, Stockton, basically like try to, or was it? I think it was David Lockridge. I think like try to ruin the whole man's life with lawsuits and everything. No, just to stop him from trying to get the word out there that this guy was doing something wrong. And it's scary, you know, just to know that somebody has that much power, just to lawsuit after lawsuit, just to ruin your life, just because you're trying to put the word out there for safety. But one thing, like I feel, the HBO one scene they did good was show like how the implosion, that one Navy officer, how she showed the wreckage. You saw the picture of the wreckage. It was just piece and bits. There was nothing left. It was just a pin. And I wish they kind of show more of that, the wreckage. But as far as this episode, I mean, this documentary go, they went to more technical detail as like in the progression of what was going, not only with the submarine, but with the staff, the crew, how people just started leaving slowly but surely, just leaving at one after another. And this guy was just delusional. He just believed that everything he did was right. And unfortunately he had a lot of, if I truly believe, like from watching that, I truly believe he shouldn't, even though he was the main culprit, he shouldn't be the only one, because he had a lot of yes men around him, and that led to the whole, because he can't fucking pilot a whole submarine by himself. You know, you need like a whole crew. You need the ship, boat captain, everybody, just to bring it out there, and nobody did anything, and they let it happen. So as far as that, and well, I guess his power alone just scared these people to just do anything. And this documentary basically went into that alone, and truly made him feel like, I think Netflix did a great job portraying him as the villain of this, and showing how much of an influence he had into getting this thing to where it got and where people actually died. So they did a great job on that part. The time I didn't have no issue with it. Again, we all, because that one kid, which I watched a lot on YouTube, who goes diving all the time. Just know that you were weeks away, like you could have died. It's crazy.
Yeah, he was disappointed that he wasn't on it when the weather messed it up, him and some other individuals. So it's like, they're trying to tell you something.
And but it's just like all these people that he had in his crew, like, and they showed you the graph, like one by one, they were just going one after another. Then he just promoted that one girl, like, you know what, they're gonna love it, you know, the first female assist something. He was just doing it just to, he didn't care.
He's got it. I think no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna try to justify and think what he thinks. I don't know what he thinks. I know what I think. I think we should go ahead and rate this. So here we rate things from a 0 to 5 for legal reasons. Allegedly, we don't want to put ourselves in any harm's way, but we rate these at a 0 from the bottom of the ocean, Marinas Trench, all the way up to the 5s, which is sitting there just floating on a nice little jet stream, if you would, as you're relaxing on the beach somewhere. So give or take what you feel, just go ahead and put that in the comments. And with that being said, one of the things that I use to go through when I'm streaming, I have a nice little setup here, and one day maybe I'll go ahead and show it. I use Corsair, I use their keyboard and mouse, has everything set up with the lights, RBG, whatever the kids like, whatever. It's all synced in and stuff, and it's nice. If you're looking for something from Corsair, check in the description. There's a link. We get a nice little how do you do when you go ahead and click the link, and if you purchase anything. And the Critics Collective, we would really appreciate that. Now, with that being said, the rating that I would give this a Manny. What would you like to rate this as they hit the subscribe button?
You know what? I'm giving this a 4 also, because even though I like they went to a lot of technical aspect and explaining a lot of what went wrong,
Mhm.
They also missed some point that the HBO documentary did right. Also, like if these two were coming, it would probably would got a 5. So
Okay, I would agree. I'm going to give it a 4, which is a better rating than what I gave the implosion one. You can check that one to see what the rating imploded to. But I do have a question for you. If you had the opportunity, one shot, one chance, would you get that? No. If would you ride? Would you jump on this and go see? And I'll change it. Hold on, wait. Not go see the Titanic. Not be on OceanGate or anything like this, and not be on something that's not safe. You make it back home safely. Everybody does. It's not one of those devil advocate. Just would you do this if somebody was watching this and say, you know what, I have a submarine, Critics Collective, I'll take you down there.
I would, again, it's the ocean. Sometimes I wonder what's down there. I was planning on buying myself one of those little drone submarine because they have those now, just to go and
Okay.
explore. So, but I would love to know what's under there. Just to see.
Oh, well, see, I would like to do it because, again, I'm big on space. I like space planets. Shout out to my planet, Neptune, best planet of all the 9 planets, 8 planets that are out there. Raining diamonds. I would do it because it's the closest thing. And it's crazy because when Rush mentions in his selling of how the experience, the customer's journey would be, he's like, yo, they're gonna help pilot and they're gonna sonogram and they're gonna help out. I would love to do that because when I go to Epcot and I do the mission space, you get the chance to pick your crew and do stuff. When you play a video game and it's, you StarCraft, certain games where you get a chance to pick engineer and I would have been out there, man. I'd have been out there. You would have been watching the documentary and be like, the thing, Ron, he was so happy to go out there. And it's made it like I would 100% do it. So if anybody asks me if you want to get a submarine and go, I would do it. So with that being said, you could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be here. Check out one of these other videos and playlists we have. So next time, click a look aloud.